Welcome back to Who Died Today USA channel. In the past few days, we have received somber news about the passing of extraordinary talents. Today's episode is dedicated to honoring their memory. Additionally, we will recap the stars we have recently lost. Before we begin, we kindly ask for your support. If this video or the legacies of these remarkable individuals have touched your life, please consider giving this video a thumbs up as a sign of respect and remembrance. Thank you. Alan Yentob, one of the most influential figures in British broadcasting history, has died at the age of 78. Over a remarkable career spanning nearly 6 decades at the BBC, Yentob helped shape the cultural landscape of the UK through his leadership, creativity, and relentless pursuit of artistic excellence. Beginning as a trainee in 1968, he quickly rose through the ranks, becoming controller of both BBC One and Two, director of television, and ultimately creative director. His impact was felt across generations through acclaimed shows like Absolutely Fabulous, Have I Got News for You, Bake Off, and the 1995 adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. Yentob was especially known for elevating arts programming, serving as the driving force behind the Arena and Imagine series. In 2024, his lifelong contribution was recognized with a CBE for services to media and the arts. Despite being a lightning rod for criticism during his involvement with the charity Kids Company, Yentob remained dedicated to public service broadcasting and never lost faith in the power of culture to change lives. He passed away on May 24, 2025. Though the specific cause of death has not been disclosed, his family confirmed he had remained active in broadcasting until the very end. He is survived by his wife of 5 years and partner of 4 decades, documentary producer Philippa Walker, and their 2 children, Jacob and Bella. Yentob leaves behind an estimated estate valued in the millions, and a legacy defined not only by groundbreaking television, but by his unwavering belief in the importance of art in public life. Phil Robertson, the beloved and often controversial patriarch of Duck Dynasty, has died at the age of 79 following a battle with Alzheimer's disease. His family announced his passing on May 25th, months after publicly revealing his diagnosis in December. Phil rose from humble beginnings as a commercial fisherman and high school teacher to national fame as the founder of Duck Commander, a company he started in 1972 with a patented duck call. What began in a small shed in Louisiana would grow into a multi-million-dollar empire thanks to his ingenuity and the leadership of his son, Willie Robertson. His rugged appearance, unfiltered opinions, and unwavering Christian faith turned him into a cultural icon. Duck Dynasty, which aired from 2012 to 2017 on A&E, showcased the Robertson family's love of hunting, faith, and family, attracting millions of viewers and sparking several spin-offs. Despite controversy, including a suspension in 2013 over remarks he made in a magazine interview, Phil remained a steadfast figure in conservative circles. His life story was depicted in the 2023 biopic The Blind, highlighting his path from personal turmoil to spiritual redemption. Phil is survived by his wife of more than 55 years, Kay Robertson, their 4 sons, daughter Phyllis, whom he welcomed later in life, and numerous grandchildren and great-grandchildren. His estate is estimated in the millions, built from years of business success and media ventures. Above all, Phil Robertson will be remembered for his deep convictions, devotion to family, and the faith-driven legacy he leaves behind. Sacha Jenkins, pioneering hip-hop journalist and Emmy-nominated filmmaker, dies at 54. Sacha Jenkins, a trailblazing voice in hip-hop journalism and a powerful force in music documentary filmmaking, has died at the age of 54. He passed away peacefully at home on Friday, May 23, 2025, due to complications from multiple system atrophy, His wife Raquel Cepeda confirmed. Born in Philadelphia, Jenkins began his career with a passion for street culture, co-founding Graphic Scenes and Explicit Language, one of the earliest publications dedicated to graffiti art. He later launched the influential hip-hop paper Beat Down with longtime friend Elliot Wilson, before the two went on to create Ego Trip, a cutting-edge magazine blending hip-hop, skateboarding, and youth culture. Jenkins held prominent roles at major publications, including Vibe, where he served as music editor and writer-at-large and contributed to Rolling Stone and Spin. His sharp voice and deep cultural insight made him a respected figure across journalism and music criticism. Transitioning into filmmaking, Jenkins built an impressive resume as director and producer. His credits include Fresh Dressed, All Up in the Biz, and Bitchin', The Sound and Fury of Rick James. He earned an Emmy nomination for Wu-Tang Clan, Of Mics and Men, and directed Louis Armstrong's Black and Blues, a poignant tribute to the jazz legend's creativity and legacy. Though his financial net worth remains private, Jenkins' cultural impact is immeasurable. His work bridged generations, blending journalism, music, and social commentary with unflinching honesty and style. He is survived by his wife, Raquel Cepeda, and their 2 children. His legacy endures through the stories he told, loud, bold, and unforgettable. Jeff Margolis, legendary awards show director and producer, dies at 78. Jeff Margolis, the masterful force behind some of television's most iconic live events, from the Oscars and Emmys to the SAG Awards and American Music Awards, has died at the age of 78. His family confirmed he passed away on the morning of May 23, 2025 in Nashville. No official cause of death has been disclosed. Born on October 14, 1946 in Los Angeles, Margolis began his television career holding cue cards for his uncle Monty Hall on Let's Make a Deal. From those humble beginnings, he rose to become one of the most trusted and admired directors in live entertainment. Over his decades-spanning career, Margolis directed 22 American Music Awards, 8 Academy Award ceremonies, 7 Screen Actors Guild Awards, and numerous other major events including Emmys, Golden Globe red carpet specials, and presidential galas. His directing credits also include legendary performances by Richard Pryor, Frank Sinatra, and Michael Jackson, as well as specials for Elizabeth Taylor, Cher, and Bette Midler. Known for his calm leadership and collaborative spirit, Margolis often credited his success to kindness and teamwork. "Collaboration is key," he said in a 2024 interview, adding that he created a family-like atmosphere on every production. He earned multiple Emmy nominations, 2 wins, and 2 Directors Guild of America awards. Through his company, Jeff Margolis Productions, he also produced a range of reality and entertainment series for network and cable television. Margolis is survived by his children Adam, Aaron, and Samantha, and his grandchildren Max and Milo. His legacy as a giant in live television will forever live on in the moments he helped bring to life on screen. Michael Alaimo, veteran actor of stage and screen, dies peacefully at 86. Michael Alaimo, the versatile character actor best known for his roles in Space Jam and the Oscar-nominated thriller The China Syndrome, has passed away at the age of 86. He died peacefully on May 2, 2025, in Burbank, California, as confirmed by his daughter, Gabriella Alaimo Thomas, a longtime television PR executive. The cause of death was not disclosed. Alaimo's career spanned more than 5 decades across theater, film, and television. With a foundation in avant-garde and political theater, he began his acting journey studying drama at Brooklyn College and performing with Joseph Papp's New York Shakespeare Festival in Central Park. He later led a Commedia dell'arte troupe and engaged in social activism through East Harlem's Gut Theater. In Hollywood, Alaimo became a familiar face with credits in cult classics and family favorites alike. He appeared as a doctor in Space Jam, 1996, alongside Michael Jordan and Bill Murray, and as a key supporting character in The China Syndrome, 1979, a tense drama that received multiple Oscar nominations. His other film credits include Mr. Mom and All I Want for Christmas. On television, Alaimo made memorable appearances on shows such as Cheers, Hill Street Blues, The Wonder Years, Scrubs, and Barney Miller. His career reflected a deep commitment to craft and a wide range of character portrayals. Though his net worth was never publicly revealed, Alaimo leaves behind a rich legacy of artistic work and family love. He is survived by his wife Louise, daughters Gabriella and Giovanna, son-in-law David, and granddaughters Isabella and Malia. George Coulomb, visionary founder of the Texas Renaissance Festival, dies at 87. George Coulomb, the influential creator of the Texas Renaissance Festival, passed away peacefully at his home in Todd Mission, Texas, on May 21, 2025. He was 87 years old. The cause of death has not yet been officially disclosed and remains under investigation, though authorities confirmed there is no public safety concern. Born in 1937, Coulomb was a pioneering cultural figure who transformed a dream into one of the largest Renaissance-themed events in the United States. In 1974, he founded the Texas Renaissance Festival, which grew into a cherished tradition, drawing hundreds of thousands of visitors annually. Known affectionately as King George, Coulomb cultivated not just a festival, but a creative haven for performers, artists, and families across generations. Beyond his work in entertainment, Coulomb served as the first mayor of Todd Mission when it was incorporated in 1982, holding the position until just weeks before his passing. His estate, believed to be worth tens of millions, included expansive land holdings, festival revenues, and business interests tied to the event. Coulomb's death came amid legal turmoil. Earlier this month, a judge ordered the sale of the festival following a failed $60 million deal and multiple lawsuits. Despite past controversies, including settled claims of workplace misconduct, Coulomb remained committed to his vision of artistic celebration and community. He is survived by his loved ones and remembered by the vast community he helped build. His legacy will live on through the magic and joy of the Texas Renaissance Festival. Rest in peace, King George. You will not be forgotten. Kathleen Hughes, iconic scream queen of 1950s Hollywood, dies at 96. Kathleen Hughes, the striking and memorable actress best known for her role in the 1953 sci-fi classic It Came from Outer Space, passed away peacefully on May 19, 2025, at the age of 96. Her death was confirmed by close friend John Jigen Griffin Attle. Born Elizabeth Margaret von Gherkin on November 14, 1928 in Los Angeles, Hughes came from a creative lineage as the niece of renowned playwright F. Hugh Herbert. She began her career with 20th Century Fox in the late 1940s and later signed with Universal International, where she secured her place in film history with her unforgettable scream in the first-ever 3D science fiction movie. Her talent extended beyond one iconic image. Hughes starred in a string of cult classics including The Glass Web, Three Bad Sisters for Men Only, and The Golden Blade, where she gave Rock Hudson his first on-screen kiss. She also became a familiar face on television, with appearances in beloved shows such as MASH, Perry Mason, I Dream of Jeannie, and Bracken's World. Hughes was married for 59 years to writer-producer Stanley Rubin until his death in 2014. Together, they built a legacy rooted in film, family, and mutual devotion. She is survived by her 3 children, Angie, John, and Michael. While her exact estate value remains undisclosed, Hughes leaves behind a lifetime of work that continues to inspire film lovers and historians alike. Rest in peace, Kathleen Hughes. Your scream lives on. and so does your legacy. George Wendt, beloved Cheers star and iconic everyman, dies at 76. George Wendt, the affable actor who made millions laugh as Norm Peterson, the beer-loving regular at Boston's favorite bar on Cheers, has died at the age of 76. His family confirmed he passed away peacefully in his sleep at his Los Angeles home on May 20, 2025. A representative stated he died of natural causes. Born on October 17, 1948 in Chicago, Wendt got his comedic start at the famed Second City Improv troupe before launching into a successful television and film career. He became a household name with Cheers, appearing in all 275 episodes from 1982 to 1993. His warm delivery and everyman charm earned him 6 consecutive Emmy nominations and the affection of audiences who shouted "Norm" every time he entered the bar. Beyond Cheers, Wendt had memorable roles in films like Fletch, Forever Young, and House, and appeared in The Simpsons, Frasier, MASH, and Seinfeld. In theater, he portrayed Edna Turnblad in Hairspray on Broadway, showcasing his range and comedic timing. Wendt was married for nearly 5 decades to actress Bernadette Burkett, who provided the off-screen voice of Norm's wife, Vera. They met at Second City and built a life together, raising 3 children and 2 stepchildren. He was also the uncle of actor Jason Sudeikis. A lifelong lover of beer and baseball, Wendt once wrote, "Give me a cool breeze, a ball game, and an ice-cold beer, and I couldn't be happier." He brought joy to countless fans simply by being himself. Rest easy, George. Cheers will never be the same without Norm. Robert Benton, Oscar-winning director of Kramer vs. Kramer, dies at 92. Robert Benton, the quietly revolutionary filmmaker who brought raw humanity to the screen in Kramer vs. Kramer and redefined modern Hollywood with Bonnie and Clyde, has died at age 92. His son, John Benton, confirmed he passed peacefully of natural causes at his Manhattan home. A native of Waxahachie, Texas, Benton began his career not in film, but as an art director at Esquire magazine. There, he co-created the now iconic Dubious Achievement Awards and forged a writing partnership with David Newman. Together, they penned the provocative 1967 screenplay for Bonnie and Clyde, a film that shocked and mesmerized audiences and became a cornerstone of New Hollywood. But it was Kramer vs. Kramer, 1979, a tender, groundbreaking portrait of a father navigating single parenthood, that earned Benton 2 Academy Awards for Best Director and Best Adapted Screenplay. The film also launched Meryl Streep and revived Dustin Hoffman's passion for acting. His follow-up, Places in the Heart, a moving homage to his mother and Depression-era Texas, earned him a 3rd Oscar and cemented his status as a storyteller of rare emotional clarity. Despite struggles with dyslexia, Benton adapted complex novels by Philip Roth and Richard Russo and was beloved by actors for his sensitivity and trust. He directed Paul Newman in one of his final great roles in Nobody's Fool, earning yet another Oscar nomination. Robert Benton spent a lifetime searching for home and gave audiences everywhere stories that felt just like it. His legacy is one of quiet brilliance, compassion, and timeless cinematic grace. Samuel French, rising star of Killers of the Flower Moon, dies at 45. Samuel French, the Texas-born actor whose quiet intensity left a lasting impression in Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon, has died at the age of 45. He passed away peacefully on Friday in his hometown of Waco, Texas, after a long battle with cancer. Samuel's path to Hollywood wasn't traditional. Raised in Clifton, Texas, he answered a local casting call that changed everything. Scorsese saw something in him and cast him as FBI agent C.J. Robinson in the Oscar-nominated epic. In a powerful one-on-one scene opposite Robert De Niro, French held his own with grace and grit. The legendary director reportedly told him, "No one could have played Robinson as well as you did." Though his screen time was brief, his presence was unforgettable. Samuel's final role, in the upcoming civil rights-era drama Towpath, was especially meaningful to him. Director Paul Sinecourt called French fearless, unfiltered, and alive, and said the film wouldn't exist without him. "He gave everything to the work. I just wish he could have seen the final cut," Sinecourt said. French also appeared in Fear the Walking Dead, Texas Rising, and starred in Joe Halladin, The Case of the Missing Sister. But his proudest role was being a father to his 12-year-old daughter, Madison. He spoke of her often, with love, pride, and tenderness. Samuel French is survived by Madison, her mother Melinda, his parents, and brothers Andy and Danny. Gone too soon, but never forgotten, Samuel's passion burned bright, and his legacy lives on through the stories he helped bring to life. Johnny Rodriguez, trailblazing country music star, dies at 73. Johnny Rodriguez, the pioneering voice who brought a Tejano spirit to country music and broke cultural barriers in Nashville, has died at the age of 73. He passed away peacefully on May 9, 2025, surrounded by family, after a brief time in hospice care. The news was confirmed by his daughter, singer Aubrey Ray Rodriguez. Born in Sabinal, Texas in 1951, Rodriguez rose to fame in the 1970s with a sound that blended Mexican heritage with traditional country. He became one of the first Hispanic-American artists to top the country charts, collecting 6 #1 singles and 20 top 10 hits. His heartfelt ballads and distinctive voice made songs like "You Always Come Back to Hurting Me," "Ridin' My Thumb to Mexico," and "Down on the Rio Grande" beloved anthems for generations. Rodriguez's talent was recognized by presidents and peers alike, performing at inaugural balls, winning the ACM's Most Promising Vocalist in 1973, and later being inducted into the Texas Country Music Hall of Fame. His legacy paved the way for countless Latino artists who followed. Though his life had its share of personal struggles, Johnny remained grounded in music and family. He married 3 times and is survived by his daughter Aubrey, who honored his memory this year with her debut single, "Pass Me By." "He was more than a legend," she wrote. "He was our heart." Johnny Rodriguez's warmth, humor, and unmistakable voice will echo through the songs and souls of country music lovers forever. Greg Cannom, legendary makeup artist behind Mrs. Doubtfire and Vice, dies at 73. Greg Cannom, the visionary prosthetic makeup artist whose transformative work helped define generations of film, has died at the age of 73. His death was confirmed by longtime friend and collaborator Rick Baker, who paid tribute to Cannom's artistry and enduring legacy. With a career spanning over 45 years, Cannom was a true pioneer in cinematic transformation. He earned 4 Academy Awards for his groundbreaking work on Dracula, 1992, Mrs. Doubtfire, 1993, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, 2008, and Vice, 2018. The latter transforming Christian Bale into Dick Cheney with uncanny realism. His mastery extended across genres, from horror classics like The Lost Boys and Hannibal to comic book epics like Batman Returns and Blade, and heartwarming favorites like A Beautiful Mind. Cannom also helped shape pop culture moments with his work on Michael Jackson's Thriller and Ozzy Osbourne's Bark at the Moon. Cannom's health declined after complications from shingles led to permanent nerve damage and a below-the-knee amputation. He faced further struggles with diabetes, viral infections, and heart failure before passing in May 2025. Beyond his accolades, including 5 Emmy nominations, a Technical Achievement Oscar, and a 2019 Lifetime Achievement Award from the Makeup Artists and Hairstylists Guild, Cannom will be remembered as an innovator who brought imagination to life. Rick Baker summed it best. His work will be remembered long after his passing. Rest in peace, Greg Cannom. Hollywood will forever carry your fingerprints on every unforgettable face you helped create. Denise Alexander, soap opera icon and beloved General Hospital star, dies at 85. Denise Alexander, the cherished actress who brought warmth, wisdom, and grace to daytime television for more than 5 decades, has passed away at the age of 85. She died peacefully on March 5, 2025, with the news announced by General Hospital on May 9th. Born in New York City in 1939, Denise began acting at age 6 on radio dramas, eventually amassing more than 5,000 radio and 500 TV appearances by the late 1960s. Her breakout role came in Days of Our Lives as Susan Martin, where she worked alongside her future husband, director Richard Kalla. But it was her portrayal of Dr. Leslie Weber on General Hospital that would make her a household name. From 1973 to 1984, Denise's Leslie captivated viewers, helping GH reach its first #1 ratings with a legendary love triangle storyline. Though written off in 1984, she returned triumphantly in 1996 and continued to appear until 2021. Her co-star Jeannie Francis said it best, "I loved her. She loved me. Some of my acting came directly from watching her. She imprinted on me." Off-screen, Denise was also a passionate photographer and producer, forever curious and creatively driven. She leaves behind a legacy of talent, mentorship, and unforgettable moments that helped define an entire genre. In every frame, Denise Alexander gave us heart, and for that, we will always remember her. Rosanna Norton was a visionary American costume designer born on October 1, 1944, in Los Angeles, California. She came from a highly artistic family. Her mother, Anne Stanford, was a renowned poet, while her father, Roland White, was an architect. Rosanna initially pursued painting at UCLA, but her life took a creative turn when she entered the world of film costume design, making her debut on Cisco Pike, 1971, directed by her then-husband Bill Norton. Over 4 decades, Norton became a powerhouse in Hollywood costume design, working on more than 50 films. Her work graced iconic movies such as Carrie, 1976, Badlands, Airplane, RoboCop 2, Gremlins 2, and The Stuntman. She was best known for co-designing the futuristic costumes of Tron, 1982, earning her an Academy Award nomination. Her creative decision to dress Sissy Spacek's character in a soft pink gown for Carrie's prom scene remains a masterstroke of cinematic symbolism. Beyond her critical acclaim, Rosanna was a beloved mentor, known for nurturing emerging talent. Costume designer Salvador Perez credited her for shaping his early career and his approach to leadership in the industry. Rosanna Norton passed away on May 7, 2025, at her home in Los Angeles, following a battle with bladder cancer. She was 80. At the time of her death, she left behind not only an enduring legacy in film, but also a family who adored her, 2 children and 5 grandchildren. Her creative spirit and elegant craftsmanship will continue to inspire for generations. Rest in peace, Rosanna. You will always be remembered for your artistry and heart. Marcel Ophuls, Oscar-winning documentarian behind The Sorrow and the Pity, dies at 97. Marcel Ophuls, the German-born French filmmaker whose probing documentaries exposed the uncomfortable truths of war, collaboration, and collective memory, has died at the age of 97. His grandson, Andreas Benjamin Seifert, confirmed that Ophuls passed away peacefully at his home in the south of France. Ophuls, the son of renowned director Max Ophuls, earned global acclaim and an Academy Award for Hotel Terminus, The Life and Times of Klaus Barbie, 1988, a searing 4-hour and 27-minute examination of the Nazi war criminal known as the Butcher of Lyon. The film, built on more than 120 hours of interviews, won the Oscar for Best Documentary Feature, and major prizes at both the Cannes and Berlin film festivals. Nearly 2 decades earlier, Ophuls stunned the world with The Sorrow and the Pity, 1969, a groundbreaking documentary that peeled back the layers of France's Nazi occupation in the city of Clermont-Ferrand. The film, running over 4 hours, explored not only the resistance and the collaborators, but the silent majority who simply tried to survive. France banned the film from television for 12 years, a testament to the wound it reopened. Ophuls' other notable works include A Sense of Loss, 1972, about Northern Ireland, The Memory of Justice, 1976, which compared the Nuremberg trials with the Vietnam War, and Veillée d'Armes, 1994, set amid the Bosnian conflict. Born in 1927, Ophuls fled Nazi Germany as a child, eventually settling in Los Angeles in 1941. He later worked alongside legends like John Huston and François Truffaut, before forging his own path as a documentarian committed to uncomfortable truths. A fierce defender of moral complexity, Marcel Ophuls leaves behind a legacy defined by integrity, intellect, and the courage to question history itself. Picture this. You've just come out of open-heart surgery, 8 hours under the knife. The doctors say you need complete silence, absolute rest. And yet, the very first words you whisper through the haze of anesthesia are, "I'm back." Not on a movie set, not in front of an audience, but lying on a hospital bed, with machines blinking all around you. This isn't just the story of a muscle man. It's the story of a boy who was once mocked for his thick accent, a name no one in Hollywood could pronounce, and a face that casting agents called too strange for American screens. He was born in a small village in post-war Austria, where every morning began with hauling water, chopping wood, and sprinting up stone hills. And yet, this boy became the greatest bodybuilder in history, a box office king in the most competitive industry on earth, and eventually, the governor of California. Yes, we're talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger, but not the man you've seen on screen. Today, we reveal the man behind the myth, the private battles, the heartbreaks, the genius strategies, and the pain no one ever saw. Black and white photos fade in. A snow-covered Austrian village, a small stone house, a young boy carrying buckets with frost on his cheeks. Have you ever wondered, what drives someone to go from absolute poverty to global fame? What keeps that fire alive when your body is breaking down, your family's falling apart, and the world thinks you've peaked? The answer isn't genetics. It's not luck. It's something else. Something Arnold always called the vision. So, what created that vision? And what did it cost to keep it burning for over 5 decades? This is not a biography. This is a journey into grit, glory, and relentless reinvention. This is the story of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Before Arnold ever picked up a dumbbell, before the lights of Hollywood or the roar of a political rally, there was silence. Silence in a cold stone house in the tiny village of Thal, Austria. Born on July 30th, 1947, just 2 years after World War II ended, Arnold entered a world still licking its wounds. There were no luxuries, not even running water. His family had to haul buckets by hand from a well each day. His room was unheated, and snow often crept through the windows. But the harshest presence wasn't the weather. It was his father, Gustav Schwarzenegger, a former military police officer under the Nazi regime, who brought his soldiers' mindset home. There was never praise, Arnold once said, only discipline and fear. Each morning began with chores at sunrise, chopping firewood, cleaning boots, scrubbing floors. His father favored Arnold's older brother, Meinhard, calling Arnold weak, sensitive, and not man enough. He was often punished harshly, no backtalk, no excuses, no softness, and yet, While other boys were afraid, young Arnold learned to convert fear into focus. When others heard yelling, Arnold heard fuel. He started sketching weights in his school notebooks. He pinned photos of Reg Park, a British bodybuilder turned movie star, above his bed. He wasn't dreaming of being liked. He was dreaming of being unbreakable. By age 14, Arnold made a secret vow. I will become the greatest bodybuilder in the world. I will be rich. I will be famous. I will escape. He found refuge in exercise, not just to build muscle, but to build identity. At 15, he snuck into the village gym before dawn. He trained alone in silence, writing every set and rep into a small, worn notebook. Then he would walk to school, legs trembling, hands blistered, but smiling. Discipline was no longer his father's to give. It was his to own. Arnold didn't rebel by rejecting discipline. He rebelled by mastering it. While other teens partied, he read books on philosophy, studied psychology, and devoured biographies of self-made men. He began to understand that the body was just a shell. To be powerful, he had to control the mind. And that mind had a single commandment: become more than your pain. Arnold's early life wasn't just hard, it was formative. He didn't want to be his father. He wanted to prove his father wrong. That deep, often unspoken wound, the feeling of being second best, not enough, would become the very force that lifted him onto the world stage. But no amount of training could prepare him for what came next. At 18, he would win his first powerlifting title. But just months later, he would be drafted into the Austrian military. What happened next, his act of defiance, his first real escape, would change the trajectory of his entire life. At 18, Arnold had built a fortress of muscle, but he was still trapped inside a country that didn't believe in dreams. Austria in the 1960s was practical, traditional, and deeply skeptical of fantasy careers. And yet, Arnold's fantasy was crystal clear. I didn't want to stay in Austria. I didn't want to be a police officer like my father. I wanted to be the best in the world, and I was willing to risk everything to do it. He trained in tank divisions, slept in tight bunks, obeyed orders like any other soldier. But underneath that camouflage uniform, Arnold was preparing for a different battle, the 1965 Junior Mr. Europe bodybuilding competition. There was only one problem. The military forbade soldiers from leaving for non-official events. So, he made a decision, a bold, illegal one. Arnold went AWOL, abandoning his post without permission to travel across the border and compete. He took with him just a bag of protein powder, a posing suit, and raw determination. In a smoky auditorium in Stuttgart, surrounded by strangers and stronger men, Arnold stepped onto a stage for the first time. He was unknown, out of uniform, out of line. And yet, when the judges called his name as the winner, he felt more free than he had in his entire life. He returned to base the next day and was immediately thrown in military jail, cold concrete, bread and water. But even there, he smiled. Because now, the dream wasn't just his. It was real, tangible. He was no longer a boy with a vision. He was a champion. Once released, Arnold was reassigned to less intense duties and shortly after left the military. He moved to Munich, a bigger city with bigger weights and bigger possibilities. He lived in a cramped room above a gym, ate canned fish and dry oats. He trained for 6 hours a day, often in freezing weather with no heating. At night, while his muscles rested, his mind worked. He read self-help books, practiced English by candlelight, and wrote down every goal, in detail, in a notebook. I didn't dream small, he said. I wanted to be Mr. Universe, then a movie star, then a millionaire. And if I was going to make it, I couldn't waste 1 hour of my life. At age 20, Arnold entered the Mr. Universe competition in London, the most prestigious amateur bodybuilding event in the world. He was the youngest contestant, the least experienced, and still, he won. The victory stunned the community, and it sent a message to the world. A new kind of champion had arrived, not just bigger, but bolder. That moment was more than a trophy. It was a declaration of independence from everything he had been told he couldn't do. From the cold bunk in Thal, to the locked cell in a military barracks, to the bright lights of London, Arnold wasn't just lifting weights, he was lifting limits. But the Mr. Universe stage was only the beginning. To become what he saw in his mind, he needed something bigger than muscles. He needed a new language, a new image, and a new country, America. He had the muscles. He had the vision. But now, Arnold Schwarzenegger wanted the one thing that seemed completely out of reach: a place in America's spotlight. In 1968, at just 21 years old, Arnold boarded a flight to Los Angeles with a duffel bag, $27 in his pocket, and barely a dozen English phrases to his name. He had no agent, no connections, no family. But he had something more powerful: absolute certainty. "I didn't come to try, I came to conquer." He landed straight into the sun-soaked neon world of Venice Beach, where bodybuilders gathered like modern gladiators. The ocean air, the golden skin, the clang of weights. This was home. Arnold trained at Gold's Gym, known then as the Mecca of bodybuilding. Every rep was a declaration. "Look at me, I'm not going away." But outside the gym, he was a mystery, a giant with a strange accent and a longer name than most marquee signs could handle. People laughed at his thick Austrian voice, his oversized frame, his dreams of being a movie star. First steps into showbiz. His first acting role? A low-budget film called Hercules in New York, 1970. So unintelligible, the producers dubbed over his voice. The press was brutal. Hollywood laughed. Studios passed. But Arnold didn't flinch. "If they don't believe in me now, they will later." He enrolled in acting classes, speech coaching, and business seminars, often attending 2 or 3 courses per day. Between workouts and labor jobs, he trained his mind like he trained his body, with relentless repetition. And here's where Arnold outsmarted almost everyone. While other bodybuilders spent prize money on cars and parties, Arnold invested every penny in real estate, buying apartment buildings in Southern California. By his mid-20s, he was already a self-made millionaire, years before his first movie success. He understood something few others did. If I control my money, I control my career. Between 1970 and 1975, Arnold dominated the Mr. Olympia competition, winning 6 consecutive titles. He was the undisputed king of the sport. But even that wasn't enough. He wanted the world. In 1976, he filmed Pumping Iron, a documentary that followed him as he prepared for his 7th Olympia title. With charisma, wit, and a wink to the camera, Arnold became more than a champion. He became a brand. Pumping Iron wasn't just a fitness film, it was a revolution. It made bodybuilding mainstream, and it made Arnold a cult phenomenon. Suddenly, Hollywood called back. This time, they weren't laughing. In 1982, he landed his breakout role in Conan the Barbarian. His presence was magnetic, stoic, savage, unforgettable. And 2 years later, he stepped into the role that would forever define him. A cybernetic assassin with just 17 lines of dialogue. One of them? "I'll be back." The Terminator, 1984, wasn't just a hit. It was a cultural detonation. Reflection. Power of persistence. Let's pause here. What does it take for a foreigner, mocked for his accent, to become the most bankable action hero in America? It takes more than biceps. It takes strategy, patience, and a refusal to accept anyone else's limitations. Arnold didn't wait for permission. He built his own version of the American dream, not by becoming someone else, but by becoming more of himself. But even as the spotlight grew hotter, even as the money, the fame, the power all poured in, Arnold was still chasing something deeper. He had proven himself in the gym, in business, and on screen, but the next battle would be more personal and more dangerous. Injury, loss, and private battles. By the late 1980s, Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't just a star, he was a global force. Box office gold, a household name, the embodiment of power, control, and indestructibility. But the truth? Even machines break down. In 1997, at the peak of his fame and strength, Arnold received a quiet but terrifying diagnosis. A congenital heart defect. His aortic valve was malfunctioning. It was genetic. He had no control over it. He wasn't in pain, but the doctors were clear. He needed open-heart surgery, soon. So, he did what he always did. He took control. At dawn, without fanfare or press, Arnold checked into the hospital. He didn't want headlines. He didn't want sympathy. What he wanted was silence, focus, and a chance to recover. The operation lasted 8 hours. His chest was opened. His heart was stopped. A new valve was stitched into place, not mechanical, but made from cow tissue. When he woke up, still groggy, the nurse leaned in and asked if he was okay. Arnold whispered just 3 words, "I'm back." Emotional break. The illusion of invincibility. That moment changed him. He had always trained to be stronger than pain, faster than failure, tougher than time. But now, he knew. Even the strongest bodies have a limit. This wasn't about lifting heavier weights anymore. It was about lifting himself out of fear and into purpose. A series of near-death encounters. The heart surgery wasn't the only scare. In 2001, he was thrown off a motorcycle in a near-fatal accident. 6 ribs shattered. 1 lung collapsed. Still, within weeks, he was back filming Collateral Damage. In 2006, he broke his femur in a skiing accident with his family. In 2020, he returned for a second heart surgery. Then again in 2023, this time for a valve replacement after complications. Most recently, in 2024, a gym accident fractured a vertebra in his spine. It could have paralyzed him. Instead, he walked out of the hospital 3 days later. The man who once bench-pressed 500 pounds now focused on perfect form, breathwork, plant-based nutrition, and meditation. His meals changed: oatmeal with chia, blueberries, turmeric. He swapped schnitzel for salmon, protein shakes for green tea. The gym was no longer about ego. It was about endurance, longevity, legacy. But not all wounds heal with surgery. In 2011, the world learned what Arnold had kept hidden for years. He had fathered a son outside of his marriage to journalist Maria Shriver, with a member of their household staff. The public was stunned. So was Maria. The marriage ended. Tabloids swirled, critics attacked. But Arnold didn't deflect or deny. He admitted everything. "There are no excuses. I hurt my family. I own that." Instead of running from the damage, he began the long road to repair. He built a strong bond with Joseph, his son from the affair, a bodybuilder in his own right, now mirroring his father's poses. He never abandoned his children with Maria, maintaining family dinners, holidays together, and transparent co-parenting. He spoke at Alzheimer's fundraisers in Maria's name, donated to scholarship programs in her honor. Not because he had to, but because it was the right thing to do. Reflection. From proving himself to serving others. For decades, Arnold had fought to prove something. To his father, to Hollywood, to the world. But in this new chapter, he stopped fighting, and he started giving. Muscles fade, accolades fade, but impact, that endures. The man once known as the Terminator was now becoming something even more rare: a teacher, a builder, a quiet leader. But the world wasn't finished with Arnold Schwarzenegger yet, because next, he would walk into the most unexpected arena of all: politics. From action hero to public servant. By the early 2000s, Arnold Schwarzenegger had already conquered 3 worlds: sports, cinema, business. But then, out of nowhere, came a 4th. "I feel compelled to give something back." That's what he told reporters in August 2003, standing in front of a crowded press line on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. That night, with no script, no teleprompter, and no advance warning, he announced he was running for governor of California. The world blinked. Was this real? Was this a joke? California in crisis. At the time, California was in chaos. A $38 billion budget deficit, rolling blackouts, skyrocketing unemployment, public outrage. A special recall election had been triggered to replace Governor Gray Davis. Over 130 candidates entered the race. Among them, a porn star, a sumo wrestler, and a former child actor. And in the middle of it all, Arnold, the people's champion. He didn't have political experience. He wasn't backed by the establishment. He still spoke with a thick Austrian accent, but he had something no one else did: trust, recognition, and a proven track record of reinvention. He campaigned not as a Republican or Democrat, but as a leader who could unite both sides. "I'm not a politician, I'm a public servant." On October 7, 2003, Arnold Schwarzenegger was elected the 38th governor of California, beating seasoned politicians in a landslide. He took office during one of the most turbulent periods in state history, but he didn't blink. At 4:30 a.m. each day, Arnold would bike to the Capitol gym, then spend hours hammering out bipartisan deals on infrastructure reform, education spending, minimum wage increases, and one of the nation's first emissions reduction plans, the Global Warming Solutions Act. Despite being a Republican, Arnold broke party lines to fight climate change. He passed America's first economy-wide cap on greenhouse gas emissions, pushed for solar energy expansion, and became a global voice for sustainability. Even world leaders took notice. He's not just a former actor, he's an environmental statesman. The Guardian. But the governorship wasn't a movie. There were no retakes, and real people felt the consequences. He battled unions, faced lawsuits, saw ballot initiatives fail, approval ratings dropped. Still, he never quit. He served 2 full terms, from 2003 to 2011, and when he left office, his approval had rebounded, not because he was perfect, but because he had delivered results. Reflection. Purpose over popularity. You can't please everyone, but you can fight for everyone. That became his motto. Arnold didn't enter politics to build power. He entered to build trust, and to show that strength meant more than muscles. After leaving Sacramento, Arnold launched the USC Schwarzenegger Institute, funding research and scholarships for environmental policy and political leadership. He gave speeches, he mentored young leaders, and he continued to live by his own rulebook: be useful, give back, and leave the world better than you found it. Still strong, just in new ways. He never returned to politics full-time, but he never left public service either. Instead of chasing power, he chased impact. He began posting free workout tips for seniors, recording podcasts on resilience, visiting children's hospitals in secret, donating millions to after-school programs and public fitness spaces. The man who once ruled box offices was now lifting the world in quieter, deeper ways. From "I'll be back" to "You can too," Arnold Schwarzenegger is now in his late 70s, and yet he still rises at dawn, still trains, still writes, still serves. But now, the mission is different. It's no longer about being the strongest in the room. It's about helping others believe they belong in the room at all. Today, Arnold lives a quieter life in Brentwood, California, surrounded by animals, weights, and memories. Each morning starts with a routine you'd never expect from the Terminator: a bike ride along Venice Beach, oatmeal with chia, blueberries, and plant-based protein, 30 minutes of breathwork and gratitude journaling, feeding his miniature donkey, Lulu, and pony, Whiskey. FaceTime calls with his kids and grandchildren. The man who once tore villains apart on screen now spends his mornings posting wellness tips and reminding seniors to stay active. Sharing strength, the new way. He still trains, but now it's about function, not fame. Gone are the max lifts. In their place, perfect form, deep breathing, mobility drills, and injury prevention. His Arnold's Pump Club, a digital newsletter and podcast, has become a cult favorite, especially among older adults trying to stay healthy. He shares science-backed advice, life lessons, and even failures to remind everyone, strength is not about ego, it's about consistency, and anyone can build it. Arnold has shifted from icon to mentor. He meets with young entrepreneurs, encourages veterans, funds scholarships for immigrant students, and regularly says yes to speaking with people who remind him of the boy he once was, ambitious, uncertain, but unshakable in their dream. He's also become one of the most active elder statesmen on climate change. His organization, R20 Regions of Climate Action, works globally to reduce emissions through local action. He appears at climate summits, not as a celebrity, but as someone who knows the value of leading by example. There is no sequel if we melt the set. That's how he ends his speeches now, reminding leaders that the world is not a movie and the stakes are real. Family and healing. Despite the divorce, Arnold continues to maintain strong family bonds. He spends time with his children, Catherine, Christina, Patrick, Christopher, and Joseph, and especially with his grandson, Lila, whose finger-painted Terminator drawings now hang proudly in his office. He says the greatest flex now isn't the bicep, it's being present. Looking back, the numbers speak for themselves. 7-time Mr. Olympia, over 30 major motion pictures, 2-term governor of California, a multi-millionaire entrepreneur, a philanthropist, mentor, and health advocate. But those are just titles. His true legacy? The kid from Thal who dreamed big and never stopped. The immigrant who rewrote the American dream. The man who kept coming back from injuries, scandals, surgery, and silence. The legend who refused to be defined by a single version of himself. Arnold once said, "You can have results or excuses, not both." He's no longer trying to impress the world. Now, he's trying to lift it. One life, one voice, one action at a time. Because while everyone remembers, "I'll be back," the real magic is in what came next. You can too. If Arnold's story reminded you of your own battles, your comebacks, your scars, or your dreams, click like to honor the strength inside us all. Share this video with someone who needs a reason to keep going, and let us know in the comments, which version of Arnold inspired you most? The bodybuilder, the actor, the leader, the father? This is American Legends, and today, we thank Arnold Schwarzenegger, not just for being strong, but for showing us where real strength begins.